The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Thursday, the 19th day of January. It is, 19th day of January 2023. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by Medical House, One Communications, and Lindo's. I'm Jamal Hartman. He's Larry Marshall Jr. and Maya Palazzo. She'll be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in her news break brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Bert, it's been a while. I mean, a week tomorrow, you were down Front Street rocking on the truck and commentating on the race. How was that?
Yeah, it was definitely a good experience. It's the second time I did it, so hopefully they call me back, or whatever. But it was a good experience. The weather we got through it. I will say that.
You had typical Front Street mile weather.
Yes, it's so crazy because the earlier part of the week it was great weather, and you just know at come Friday and Saturday it's going to be bad weather.
Yeah. That happens. I mean, would it be race weekend without the weather like that?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, we got Karen Simmons asking, are you expanding your career doing commentating?
Sure, why not?
Blessings to you as well. Lillian James says blessings for the new day. Great is his faithfulness. Good morning to you, Karen Simmons. Good morning to Traveling Trotty. Folks, good morning. So much to talk about. We have a lot. What I'd like to say is thank you to the audience as well, who a lot of you continue to reach out to us with feedback, give us information. We will be doing a lot more. We know people want to share clips of the show, so we will be clipping the discussion parts separate to the guests so that people can share them and even just have access to go watch them without having to go through the show to find certain things. So we appreciate your feedback. Greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome Dr. Ernest Peets on the show from MASC. We're going to be discussing men's mental health. So you know what to do. This is a very important community conversation for all of us, not just men, but women who have men in their lives, young men in their lives. This is another one that we need to ensure the community, our friends, our family are locked into. Daily Play is a name that plays today, a very easy one, probably the easiest one. And Sherry and Sancha probably do have an argument if they do say, oh, Larry got an easy one. I just hope he doesn't let us down. Don't forget, the show is now available live on our website, thedailyhour.com. So you no longer need social media to tune in live to this show. If you already, all you need is the internet. So got the internet, go to thedailyhour.com. You can tune in, just watch us live. And if you haven't already, folks, please subscribe on our website. Follow us on social media, on everywhere where we are. You don't want to miss different things. Different platforms will have different posts because different people, go on different social mediums. So that's what we got for you so far. But today, again, there's so many different things we could discuss today. But one of the things that, we wanted to just bring up, yesterday we spoke about the rise in dog attacks, right? But something interesting that Tamara McHale reported on yesterday, which has been real big news. I'm shocked it hasn't been spoken about more in Bermuda, especially in the news outlets. But Real big news that she spoke about happening, in the world, but in Jamaica in particular. I think we arguably Usain Bolt is the biggest global icon Jamaica has had since Bob Marley. But if you missed Tamara McHale's report, basically about 12.8 million has pretty much been taken from an account that Usain Bolt had in a company called Stocks and Securities Limited in Jamaica. Basically, he looked at that as retirement funds and so on. Now, what I find interesting about this is Usain Bolt, again, one of the greatest Olympians of his generation, probably of all time, right? And he is Jamaica. Like almost all the posts you see, he's in Jamaica. He's representing Jamaica. He kept his money in Jamaica. You don't see that with a lot of people.
Yeah.
You don't see that with a lot of stars, a lot of big celebrities. They're quick to go and make a home elsewhere, take their fun. Like they're all about how to get the best out of life for their lives and their families, right? And I thought when she reported on it, it made me sick. And I've seen the comments from a lot of Jamaicans on social media just angry because, this is a global icon and we're doing this to someone who really is just here trying to help build us up. And so the question of the morning really, and this is on a big scale because we don't have statistics, we don't have numbers, Larry. But what I have a friend out in the UK right now visiting his son who's in an academy. And he went on a list the other day. He said, yo, man, so many people out here. I bumped into this person and that person and that person and this person. I said, really? And it got me thinking, how do we ask this? What can we learn from the Usain Bolt situation? What can we learn from that? Like as individuals, as a community, and as a country, what can we learn from that?
Yeah. It's quite interesting. I can obviously not to this scale speak to a Usain Bolt situation, but my account was compromised some years ago, and a couple of $1,000s was stolen. And when that happens, you're like, what? Like, hold on, what did I do? Did I do this? You're going over it, you're looking, you're calling someone to check it in. And this was no way for my retirement. But I needed that money, and it was not a good feeling. So I definitely feel for him, and it doesn't matter if it's. I guess it does matter the amount, but at the end of the day, it's your hard-earned money. So when it goes missing, it goes missing. But what changed after that? I was a person that didn't necessarily look at my account regular and see what's going on, and after that it caused me to log in after a while, see what's happening, you know what I mean, be more conscious of what's happening on my account and not seeing 4 tickets to Denmark charged to my account. And I think that is something that people may have to look at, because know what's happening at your financial institutions, you know what I mean, if it's long term, short term, the bankings or trust funds.
Well, you hit on something just now, because I believe, and audience, correct me if I'm wrong, was it British American in Bermuda? We had a situation with British American about a decade ago, if I'm not mistaken. But again, Bermudian, we speak about so many things on this show. And this conversation, when we're asking, what can we learn from the Usain Bolt situation? We haven't spoken about the casino thing in Bermuda, how it looks like, the Hamilton Princess Casino thing's not going to happen right now. Like, it's taken years to happen. I guess the question is around trust, right? Like, what can we learn? Like, are we learning any lessons about trust?
Yeah.
Are there lessons in how do we trust? Like, let me take another angle. I'm going to go political. When you're voting in an election, you're putting your trust in individuals to do right by you, to handle your money. So remember, there's taxes that come out of your pay, right? Now, again, you're saying about willingly put his money in an institution, trust it that it will do something for him, so when he retires, he and his family will be good. With the tax system, you're not voluntarily giving your money away. You voted for people who are telling you they're taking this money from you for your benefit. But you're trusting that your vote is going to go in favor of people who have your best interests at heart. What can we learn from the Usain Bolt situation? Our money, our vote, right? They're very precious things.
Yeah. And there's so many different examples. Like right now, you just have to be well informed as best as possible, because you know, let's look at the cryptocurrency situation and people
Woo!
losing out on things like that. And I follow one financial advisor, and he is like, what's true and trusted. For years and years, there's certain things that's true and trusted. These new fads come, and they may do well, they may do this, but if it's volatile, it's this. It could be, if it sounds too good to be true,
Yeah.
usually it's too good to be true. And if you're not the earliest in, it's not going to work. Craig Simmons, what he said last week when he was on the show, if the cashier at the supermarket's talking about Bitcoin, you missed it.
Yes.
That's it. It's over. But you know, it's just a very sad situation, and you have to look. If they're gonna do it to Usain Bolt, what chance you stand?
Yeah.
And it's from every angle. They can. You have some people will take 5 cents out of a million accounts just to get what they need. You know what I mean?
Well,
It's there.
let me touch on that. When I was in graduate school, I remember professor speaking about how a person working in a bank, right, took 10 cents from different accounts over like a 20-year period. And no one noticed because it was such a small amount. And basically, this person left, retired early, no one heard, and people were wondering how were they able to do it, disappeared. An investigation was launched, and they found out what the person was doing. But let's be honest, how many of us check our bank accounts
Yeah.
like that, right? I have, maybe this is a lot, I have about 6 credit cards, mostly with zero balances on. But truthfully, even I've been irresponsible in checking what's been charged to a card or two. There are so many lessons in what's happened to Usain Bolt.
Yeah.
And I think one of the lessons is what you said. If they can do this to him, what makes you think they won't do it to you? And just because you may not have 12 million, right? You can have $12. If they're taking 5, 10 cents every week or every month, that adds up from every person. That adds up. But we have to honestly be more astute. And you said be more informed, Bert. You said we need to be more informed. Folks, let's think about crypto and fintech. That's been the promise in Bermuda since 2017.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, right? But I do try to stay away from reading the paper. I know some of you are tuned in on Facebook. I can't do it anymore. I don't read Facebook. I probably don't go past headlines and news. I read things that are going to be helpful for me and my community, right? But unfortunately, when I go on a Forbes or when I go on a LinkedIn and when I go on Business Insider or Inc., all of the information that I see is not favorable for Bermuda and the Bermudian people. There was a story just the other day where I was left questioning, and this is what I try to challenge the TDH members to do. I share a story in the TDH group, right? We're not journalists, only Maya and Tamara are journalists. But the idea of sharing the story isn't to have a discussion, but it's to, this is what's wrong with this story. For instance, there was a story about the Bermuda Monetary Authority registering a record number of companies, right? But where's the journalism in that? Where is how many jobs did this create? How many companies during this same period left. Like there's nothing to it.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's so many lessons to learn from this. Asking questions, folks.
Yeah.
Don't just put your money somewhere and leave it.
Yeah. And I must admit, this was, I want to say it might have been 10, 15 years ago. And I was just living life carefree, couldn't think about nothing. And, it was easy. I was vulnerable. And that's what they will look for. They'll look for vulnerable. That's why you always hear about the elderly getting scammed. You know what I mean? And some of them, they're like, you know what? Maybe this could set me straight for the rest of my life and my family. You know what I mean? And then they're left with nothing.
Yeah.
And it's not just happened to you saying about this happened to countless people with various amounts. And, you know, the people that are doing it, they don't care. You know what I mean? They're lower than low in my opinion. Um, but people used to say it's nothing worse than a liar and a thief.
Man.
It's just two things that really kind of grind my gears, you know what I mean? But you have to navigate it, you have to be aware, you have to be informed, and you have to pay attention to what's current in certain things. And that's not saying, hey, oh, fintech's doing this, so I need to do this. Oh, this is happening, I'm screwed. Let me sell this. Let me make sure I have cash under my bed. We're not saying that, but we are saying be informed and know what's going on with your money.
Yeah, indeed. Let's go to the audience. What can we learn from the Usain Bolt situation? Folks, we got Maya. She's on assignment today. She's actually out with Dage Miners. And, if you remember last week, Friday, as Larry we were talking about earlier, Larry was commentating down on the Front Street Mile. Dage Miners actually, again, took first place during the Dage Mile down there. So she's with Dage, and we'll be going to them in a few. But let's go back to the audience. What can we learn from the Usain Bolt situation? If you're not aware, Usain Bolt had basically had an investment, I guess want to say for retirement with a company called Stocks and Securities Limited, as Tamara McHale reported yesterday, out of Jamaica. Very sad situation. Let's go to Sean DeShield says, Bernie Madoff syndrome, trapped and tricked Bolt to make a bad investment. I know people are saying it's a bad investment, right? I was watching some Bermudians argue. I'm talking about Bermudians. One guy, I think he's a financial advisor at one of the local banks in Bermuda, and another young lady who is in IB, and they were arguing because he said something like that. She's like, "How stupid are you? Like, this is a guy who is investing in his country. Like, he wanted to do it." And the truth is, you got to ask yourself, and this is a fair question to Bermudians. This is not to crap on Bermuda, but you got to ask yourself, Bermuda, if you had a chance to, invest in Bermuda or invest outside of Bermuda where it might be more attractive, are you going to do it in Bermuda because you want to represent and support your country, or are you going to do what's in your best interest? That's one of the lessons that come from this as well, right? Tamara McHale, who reported on it yesterday, she said, it's just so sad, though, as a Jamaican, it is embarrassing, but they allege the brokers gave fake statements to his business manager, so they thought all was well. It's very sad, and maybe the business manager should be under the scope as well. Go ahead, Brent.
Yeah. Rosalind Famous says, another lesson, diversify where you keep your funds. And Shika Reyna, financial institutions are constantly under security attack externally and by some of their employees internally. Watch your accounts, learn how to notice fraud. Okay, or talk to someone who does.
Well, in the first one, where Rosalind states that diversify where you keep your funds, that's crucial. That's crucial. And I think if you don't know what that means, just Google diversifying your funds. Like, it can mean having mutual funds at one company and another life policy at another. Like, back in the day, you may have something at Colonial or something at BFM or something that lines overseas management. But it's crucial. But when what Shika Rana just said, I don't know if you know, but Sanchez shared it in the TDH WhatsApp group. Bank of America was having some issues just 2 days ago with Bank of America and Zelle, and it was trending. So basically what happened was people were transferring money and it wasn't showing up, and it was some issues with their accounts. But again, how many people really, unless they need something, are looking in their bank accounts? Yeah. Let's go back to the comments. What can we learn from the Usain Bolt situation? Charles H. Jefferson II says, with Bermuda being one of the largest homes for reinsurance, I find it interesting that bank deposits are not insured in Bermuda like they are in the U.S., or are they? That's a good question.
Excellent question. Hopefully someone in the audience could give us the answer.
Yeah, let us know, someone in that sector. Renee Simmons says, I think when you are accustomed to working on a banking platform, you check your account regularly. Make no mistake, I log on without hesitation and found some deficiencies, but always rectified. I'm going to be honest. I haven't checked one of I only have two. Well, yeah, I haven't checked one of my accounts since before Christmas, and that's not like me. I think it's because I probably think I spent so much, but yeah.
But I agree with her her comment. Everyone that I know that works or either in that accounting field or administrator, they check their accounts regularly.
Yeah. I get it, and I know of those people. Sam Cat Place says, go after the brokers, diversify, and private pensions are a good savings module. Well, I agree. I agree. Folks, this is a good conversation, and it's one that needs to continue, but there are a lot of lessons in what happened with Usain Bolt. Let's bring Maya in. She's with Dage Minor, so we're just gonna go to Maya in the field. But again, please, if you have any other things, well, let's just end doing this. Tamara McHale, she says, Bolt, I'm sure, has other bank accounts, but despite his wealth, invested heavily in this investment firm, so it's a national shame. I've learned now to check more. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm sure that's not his only account. I mean, 12 million, the man probably made that in a year. So yeah, definitely sure it's not his only account. But again, it's important not to put all your eggs in one basket in that respect. Let's bring Maya Palacio in for today's Daily Hour News Break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy.
Good morning. Good morning.
Well, hello, Maya. Looks like you got company today.
Just, someone a little special.
Yeah, just a little special, just a little special. Good morning, Dej. How's things?
Morning, gents. How we doing? I'm good.
Good.
Well, Maya, I know you're going to talk to Dej real quickly, but Dej, I was just hoping that you weren't distracted and some ugly face weren't scaring you on the truck on Friday night.
No. Good. I have good company in the lead car. My mate Marshall.
Yeah.
No worries. Well, talk to us, Maya. What you got for us?
Well, good morning, everyone. This is Daily Hour News Break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. And today I'm here with Dej Miners, who recently won the Elite Fun Street Mile down at Fun Street, the very famous one that we all look forward to. Obviously, we hadn't had it for a while, so it was really special to get Dej out there back on the track and winning again for the second time in the Elite race. So right now I just got Dej here, and I'm just going to ask a couple of questions for you guys so you guys could get entertained with him. So Dej, tell me exactly, how did it feel when you were crossing that line?
Yeah, like you said, first it was good to have the race back. Obviously, I've been a bit of a hiatus due to COVID. But I guess I felt good leading up to the race. Training had been going well. But I hadn't raced in like a month, so I wasn't too sure where exactly I stood. But like obviously from training, I knew that I backed myself. And crossing the finish line, it felt real good. Just racing back home. Not often do I get to race home, but recently, the track meet they had in April and Front Street back, I had to take the opportunity to race home. And yeah, I just felt like a good test to like the end of this like little winter training block that I've had. So now I'm ready to push on.
Awesome. Now you told me that after you came through and you won that race, what happened immediately after that?
Yeah, so immediately you do the awards, do a few interviews, and then you go straight to I don't even know what the building. I think it's the Chamber of Commerce building. And we had a drug test, and I was there from like 8:30 until 10. I couldn't use the bathroom, and then I had like a partial sample, and I had to wait to use the bathroom again. So yeah, I was using the bathroom for 90 minutes.
Why do you have to drug test you immediately after?
That's just the rules. WADA and WASADA, which is Bermuda Sport Anti-Doping. they say the winners of the men's and women's elite section have to get drug tested. And I mean, I don't mind. Like that's my job, and trying to keep a dirty sport clean. So I don't mind just doing what I have to do.
That's very interesting. Okay, so what's coming up next for you?
So yeah, next I actually leave Bermuda on Saturday, and I'm gonna race a few indoor meets up in Boston. 3 indoor meets, and then maybe one early season outdoor meet in California in March. So I'll have 3 races in January and February, and then maybe a 1500 in the early spring.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. So what did you feel when they got all the support from you to being there on Front Street?
It was good. Just I think that elite race is important, and I think it's even more important to have not just one local athlete in it, but we had 2. So it's good that the elite race is good on its own, but I think when you have some local like flavor and stuff, it definitely brings the crowd's a bit more energetic. So it's good to have the support, and I just hope that we can continue to have local athletes in those elite races, so that every year the local crowd has somebody that they can actually cheer for. So yeah.
Sweet. I'm gonna throw it over to you, Marshall. I know you might have something to say.
I do. First of all, that drug test. The drug test is just a pain, and you could think about using the restroom. It took me about 1 or 2 hours also when I had to do it, so it's just a pain. But I was lucky enough to be on the lead vehicle, and I'm actually able to see the race breakdown and whatnot. But I think as a runner, you kind of knew that you had to throw out somewhat time because the wind was a factor. Talk about how you had to navigate the wind on that night.
Yeah, like you said, Marshall, the obviously when you go into different races, you have different goals and ambitions, and Front Street's one of those races where the time wasn't really important. I talked to my coach about the afternoon, about around lunchtime, and he was just like, he doesn't care if the race is won in 5 minutes or 4 minutes. He was just like, just wait until you feel good and then make your move. So yeah, time wasn't really relevant. Well, not relevant, wasn't really important for me last week. But the wind was obviously going to be a factor. It's never not windy on Front Street. And so a lot of the guys that ran, I think because I had the fastest mile time on paper, a lot of guys were waiting to see what I was going to do. I hate leading. Like I never lead races, so I was just waiting in the back, second place, and just was trying to not take on any wind. So it was pretty straightforward.
Yeah, definitely a good moment. So when you about 300 meters out, you made your move. It was a decisive move. Did you think anyone was gonna come with you, or you just was ready for anything? Because it's different. You was able to have a moment for about the last 20, 30 meters and kind of do a little celebrating, a little kick pump, or you know what I
Yeah.
mean, like that. So tell us about that.
Yeah. Well, I feel strong where I knew that any move I was gonna make, I didn't think there was gonna be a whole lot of guys that were gonna be able to come with me. So I knew I got, like you said, at 300 meters, I probably could have kicked again. But I knew probably about 20 meters when I put that first surge in, I was like, all right, I think I broke these guys. And then like you said, the last 20 meters was just getting, trying to get the crowd pumped up and just taking it all in.
I have a question, Dej. Actually, let me just check. I'm sorry, I'm doing this live, but I want to say this morning I ran 10:24. That's my mile time this morning, right?
Sure.
So, hear me, I am. My coach Marshall, he monitors me every now and then, and you're running a mile in 4:16, I think the time was, but you're talking about I weren't worried about time. Just speak to the preparation it takes to not just physically but mentally prepare to do this, because we just look Front Street Mile. I said it, my 2 favorite races, the mile and the Bermuda Day Half Marathon. The preparation it takes to do that in 4 minutes 16 seconds, like speak to us about that.
Yeah, it's tough because in Bermuda, Front Street Mile is very important, but in the long scheme of my season, I don't think I'll look back and say I had a good season or bad season because of Front Street Mile. And that's not to belittle Front Street Mile, because it is very important. And as long as I'm healthy, I'm gonna always run Front Street Mile, because we need a local person in there. And like I said, as long as I'm healthy, I'm in it. So it's hard because like the 2 weeks leading up to it, you're getting like the phone calls and you're like feeling the pressure from like just the general public. But in the back of my mind and like from my coach and like our training, there's no real emphasis on Friday. What was that? Friday the 13th. It's like even the week leading into it, like I wasn't really training. I was training through Front Street. You know what I mean? But at the same time, mentally, my body wanted to like taper off a bit because like I was feeling the pressure, like having a good year last year, having won in 2018, second in 2020. But my coach kept reminding me like try to not just like brush it to the side, but like remember that the goal is like, yes, to win Front Street Mile, but can this just be a part of the process and the progress for this season? So, but then as the days got closer, like, I definitely started to feel the pressure, like having, like I said, having a good year the year before, winning before, getting second, like then I would probably say this Front Street Mile is probably the most pressure I think I've had going into a race, just because I think people expected more of me. And I was just trying to take that both in stride, but at the same time try to diminish it. But it was kind of nearly impossible to diminish it. But yeah, so that was the mental preparation leading into it, was that like important race, but remember that it's just part of this process for the whole season.
Indeed. Maya,
Very nice.
you're gonna have like a full out conversation with Dage. Where can people find it?
You can definitely find it on any Media Maya platform. Probably going to be on YouTube with the whole thing going on. Expect that after the next race that Dage actually competes in.
All right.
Good
How's
stuff.
the weather looking today, Maya? You guys look cool.
It's a little windy, but we're right by the ocean. So, but we're looking at 71 degrees Fahrenheit today, actually. So it's going to be a pretty nice day, pretty sunny. So get out there and get in the sun.
All right. Thank you so much, Maya. Dage, we appreciate you. Keep going. And thanks for inspiring me. I'm never going to make it to 4 minutes, 16 seconds. But hey, look, I'm getting under 10.
All right. I appreciate you guys and the work you do.
Appreciate you. Thanks so much. Talk to you both later.
All
Bye, guys.
All righty. Maya Palacio, Dage Miners. Folks, awesome. Thank you so much, Maya, for going out there on assignment, getting Dage. Real quickly, before we go to break, we've got Dr. Ernest Peets coming up. We're talking about men's mental health today, so it gets even more important. But I asked him about the mental part, and because of something that Flora Duffy, Dame Flora mentioned last week about a sports psychologist that she speaks to, right? So definitely wanted to ask about that. But Larry, obviously that's your space. That's you. Just before we head off, explain how important the mental aspect, because we all think physical. And I've said this on the show before. The stuff that you've made me realize, like I'll be out there trying to get under, a certain time. And then you're like, no, slow down. Your heart is beating too fast. Like for me, that's a mental thing, because even though you told me, that you told me last week after I ran that 5K, you're like, okay, tomorrow rest. What did I do? I still ran. But what I did, I said, Brep's going to see this. So the next 2 or 3 days, I didn't run. I walked that length, right? But speak to the mental impact and aspect of it all.
Yeah, it's mostly physical parts easy, folks. Think about it. Mental, you can get up and run 2 miles, but getting out of bed's the hard part, right? That's mental. Holding a certain pace, that's mental. Rather, you feel like you're tired and you can't keep going. But if you mentally push through, and so it's so many different ways. How do you prepare for it? Do you do all your things before? So your mind's constantly going. And sometimes when you get to a level of, say, Dage, the mental part is it's a lot, because he's running about 10 sessions a week, which means twice a day for 3 or 4 days. So that means your sleep has to be on, this has to be on. So your mind has to not check out. That's also a part of the mental. You know what I mean? So it gets broken down into mental preparation, and it can be subdivided in another 3 or 4 categories. You know what I mean? So when you break it down, it's just you're always thinking. So that sounds like a lot, but because it is a lot. But always say, just make it simple. Control the controllables.
I'm just going to stick with what you said. The first thing you said is the mental parts, getting up to do it, not the actual action. And that's so true. Like, seriously, waking up and just getting out there. As soon as you start, it's like, oh, you're grooving, you're into it. We're going to take a quick break. Do not go anywhere. We've got Dr. Ernest Peets coming up, a very important community conversation. Folks, please please share this link because we want to delve deep into something impacting our community, men, all men, especially Black men. It's mental health when we come back. Stick with us. Don't go anywhere.
Let's face it, life can be a little wild, but shopping doesn't have to be. I choose People's, so that whether it's a prescription that needs to be filled, a toy for my little terror, or a gift for a new addition to the family, we'll see about that. Everything's available in one convenient location. Some call it People's, I call it my one-stop shop in the city. People's, we're here for you.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick, tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
Mom's celebrating her 70th birthday next month. Have you noticed her age is catching up with her?
Yeah. Plus, she's having a hard time getting up and around like she's used to. I would sure hate to see her fall.
At Medical House Limited, we can help make life situations easier. We have electric beds, motorized scooters, bath stools, walkers, you name it.
Mom's been real good to us. We'll get her birthday and Christmas gifts from Medical House.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dendy Town Field. Number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke. Telephone 292-3622.
All righty, welcome back to the big show. He's Larry Marshall Jr. I'm Jamel Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by Medical House, One Communications, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy. Folks, hey, if you don't know, well, now you do because I'm about to tell you. But you no longer need social media to tune in to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. We are now live on our website, thedailyhour.com. So no excuse, right? I know people, I don't have Facebook. I don't know how to use YouTube. But you know how to use the internet and get to a website. So you can just go on our website, dailyhour.com. Roslyn Famous is unrelated to anything. Jamel, your new background and lighting is on point. That's Grumpy Sherry. Sherry, yeah, she made me do it. That's just some internal stuff. But thank you, Roslyn. Really appreciate you recognizing and realizing I took a lot of work last night designing such.
I thought you was going to drop some biggie. If you don't know.
No, you know, yeah, I was thinking about it. Marcia Bradshaw says, Jamel, never say never. Well, I only say never because I'm
never, bro. Never.
I'm not committed to putting the time and effort in to getting down to 4 minutes, 16 seconds. That's why I say never. I'm just being real with you. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just keeping it real. But that's a lot of commitment, dedication. And I just, no, under 10 minutes, I can do that. If I wanted to go out and run that right now, I can do that.
I could get you on the 6.
See, and I don't want to, our friendship will be on the line in that respect, folks. I'd probably be mad at him. So yeah, let's bring Dr. Peets in and get this conversation going. He might tell me mentally, Jamel, no, yeah, you can do it. Let's bring Dr. Peets in, give him a warm TDH welcome. Dr. Ernest Peets, folks. Morning, sir. How are you?
Hey, good morning. I've been enjoying the shows so far.
Thank you.
Morning.
Well, first off, let's start off on a bad note. Arsenal. You're an Arsenal supporter.
I am.
Yeah. Well,
things are going quite good for Arsenal at the moment.
Yeah, I don't understand where this bad came from.
That's the problem, Dr. Peets. That's the problem. Things are going very well for you right now. I don't like that. But no, honestly, props to you. Your team deserves it. And I was just like, I know you're a happy Arsenal fan these days. Well deserved because you've had about 15 years of pain and you deserve it, man. But they play some of the best football.
Sounds like it's giving you the trophy already. It's a lot of football left.
Well, it's certainly a lot of football to be played. And I am excited and happy, but this is football, so anything can happen. So
this is true. You know. And this is Arsenal as well. But let's get into today's conversation. So look, we're talking about men's mental health. And obviously, this is a topic you and I go way back where you had started something that I don't know a lot of people really know about, but you actually hosted a show called The Family Show over 50 years ago. And that was a game changer that Bermudians remember that. It was never a show that was really focused on mental health for everyone. You spoke about grief, you spoke about relationships. It was a lot of things. But here we are today. You're now part of an organization called MASC. Just explain to the audience what MASC is and, little background about yourself in this respect as well.
Sure, I'd be glad to do so. Most times when we're talking about MASC, most individuals actually think MASC is actually an acronym. Actually, it's a lot simpler than that. We chose the word MASC primarily because it was basically short for masculine. Three counselors here at MASC, we're all males, and we focus our counseling practice on male clients. Hence the word MASC being short for masculine. But the other thing, Jamal, that's quite interesting is that just about every single morning, if not the entire planet, certainly the majority of us get up in the morning and we literally put on a mask. We put on this show, this face, this outward exterior, and that's how we go and face the day. That's how we go and face the world. But underneath that quote unquote mask is, our real self, the issues that we're dealing with, the emotions that we're having and the complications that we're experiencing. And what we do here at MASC is we allow men who sort of carrying some of these issues an opportunity to sort of take that mask off and have a conversation with another man, another male therapist, and through that process begin to have an authentic conversation about what's really going on and how to fix some of those issues.
I love everything about the organization. I constantly see people giving the organization props on social media, but just speak to the audience as to some of the services that MASC offers that probably were not available prior, but you've expanded and extended the offerings to men.
Yeah, one of the things that myself, as well as Tyron McCarty and Fitzgerald Williams, have been thinking and talking about probably for the better part of 2 decades is that we really didn't have in this particular country a centralized place for men's resources or like a men's resource center. And unfortunately, at least in our experience anyway, when men do have an opportunity to get involved in therapy, counseling, or things along that nature, is usually after an issue has already happened. Perhaps maybe they've entered into the criminal justice system. And what happens is, or maybe even they've gotten involved in drugs and alcohol, and that's become a problem. And then the first time they're actually seeing a counselor of any real degree to work on some issues is after the problem has already become a major issue. So one of the things that MASC wants to do, of course, is to sort of be that point of or place where men who are having issues, before those issues become, a major problem in their life, maybe for them or their family or for their employer, that we can begin to provide some assistance and intervention to help them through that. So we do individual counseling, we do group counseling. We also, many people may not be aware of that, but it's on our website. We also do vocational assessment. So there's a group of individuals who are coming through middle school and high school who perhaps haven't had the opportunity to sort of figure out, well, what is it I'm going to do after college? After high school, and what type of college degree would be best suited for me, based on my personality, based on my interests, based on my grades, based on what's going on in the economy. And we could take a young person like that through a vocational assessment and help them to figure out, hey, listen, we can help you narrow down, some of the things that you might be interested in. So, for example, most of the time when I'm talking to kids last year, for example, I want to be a football player. And I love that. I certainly want to support their dreams and aspirations. But if football doesn't work out for you, what is it that you think that you might be doing as a career, for work? And a lot of these kids haven't really given that a lot of thought. So that vocational conversation with them and with their parents is really, really, really important. We also do some EAP work. We also do professional development, seminars and workshops on a variety of different topics that individuals or organizations might be interested in.
I love that, especially that example you gave just now about the young men with football. And you kind of just did it, but just go in more depth of explain why an organization like this is so necessary, especially right now.
Yeah. So probably the group that is probably most unrepresented, or maybe even overrepresented, depending on how you want to approach the conversation, is this male population. So the problems that we see is that men, generally speaking, if we're just talking in general terms, do not sort of gravitate to therapy and counseling naturally like our female counterparts. And that's something that we kind of want to change as it relates to how the culture and how we as people view mental health. But having said that, men who are looking for some therapy or some counseling or are willing to have another person sort of talk into their life a little bit and sort of help them to figure things out, haven't had the opportunity, at least until now, particularly if they wanted to speak to a male therapist or a male counselor. There aren't many males in this particular field doing this type of work. And so a lot of males who would have perhaps maybe taken advantage of it just simply didn't, because every time they wanted to get some help, they just didn't have an opportunity to speak to someone that looks like them.
Dr. Peets, we often hear about mental health, especially with men, on the TV, usually after something bad has happened on a great scale, right? And it's usually from the United States. But what are some of the mental and emotional challenges that men face in Bermuda?
Yeah, so we've been around since COVID, and of course, privately, we've been working in other organizations here on island in human services and social work. There are at least 5 probably generic categories that I think most of my clients, particularly if they're male, fall under. One, these individuals are dealing with the accumulation of stress. So stress accumulation is a really, really difficult thing to deal with. You guys might be familiar with the non-clinical term. That's the straw that breaks the camel's back.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's the load that we carry.
Mm.
And it's not only just the load we carry, it's how long we've been carrying it. That accumulated stress creates a lot of problems for both male and females. But of course, we're talking about how this sometimes breaks the back of most males. A lot of our clients have relationship issues. So, we see accumulated stress, we see relationship issues, we see depression and anxiety. We see those combination of behaviors where individuals are numbing their emotions, and that will be, your addictions and your drinking and your drugging, or your sexing or whatever the other case may be as relates to numbing emotions. And of course, the most popular probably would be anger and irritability, particularly when we're talking about some of the discord and some of the unhealthy relationships that we see in workplaces.
Yeah. Men, and particularly Black men, because even amongst my friends, these types of topics are not being talked about, right? What and I mean me as Black men, we're often reluctant to seek counseling. Why is that, and how can we change this?
That's a very, very interesting conversation to have, and I don't have a fulsome answer for that. I can speak from personal experience, and I think my personal experience may be familiar with some of the personal experiences of your audience. When I was a kid, there was a series of conversations that we were having that were quite hot and heavy at home. And one of the things I remember at the kitchen table or the dining room table, wherever it was a comment that was put to myself and my sibling. And that was, what is said at this table stays at this table. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that term.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As a little kid, how I internalized that was, well, when there are difficult conversations that need to be had and I have issues and emotions about those issues, I can only say them at this table. But suppose the people at the table are the people that I have problems with. But because I can only say it at this table, then I didn't mention it to my teacher. I didn't mention it to my Sunday school teacher. I didn't mention it to my coach. I didn't mention it to my grandparents, because I was honoring this command that what is said at this table stays at this table. So I try to manage all these issues on my own. And we usually divide that up into two ways. We either explode or we stuff it. I was the type of kid who grew up with stuffing emotions. But my next door neighbor may have been the type of kid that didn't stuff it. They just exploded and got in trouble. And we sort of carry these sort of coping strategies and mechanisms all the way through our childhood into adulthood. And so when we get to adulthood, that whole sort of command when I was 10 about what it's said at this table stays at this table is, well, you know what? I have an issue talking about these types of issues with someone who's not at my kitchen table. And that includes the counselor who's in front of me.
That's quite interesting. Because it then also comes with a stigma. This type of stuff, publicly they find out. People may think you're weak, or guys, we think you're weak, and in fact, nobody really cares what you're doing, really.
Yeah.
But how can we kind of eliminate the stigma about mental health and it being weak or something like that?
Yeah, so we certainly have to, and I certainly applaud you guys for doing this morning. So the more we talk about it and the more we begin to help people to understand that every one of us are carrying issues and that those issues are the real problem. And I'm not the problem, you're not the problem. What the problem is the real problem. These are the issues. And if we could talk about those issues without bias, without shaming each other, then people will find it more easy to sort of find help. The other is that we need to get intervention and help sooner. It's easier to solve a problem while it's early rather than trying to deal with it while it's fully grown. And sometimes there's problems when the fully grown are so deep rooted that it's really, really difficult to sort of turn that situation around. So we certainly need our insurance companies, our employers, our places of employment to really start promoting and pushing wellness, which a part of that wellness is, of course, also mental health wellness.
Yeah. Lastly, how can those who are in need or know of someone who's in need seek your services?
Well, we were born online, so we were in COVID. So when MASC actually started, so all of our policies and procedures to get a hold of us and to get connected started online. We didn't start seeing clients face to face to a lot further in COVID when the COVID restrictions allowed us to do so. So most of our clients would just simply, particularly if you're self-referred, can just go to our website, which is mascbda.com. There is a contact us or make an appointment button on that website. You can anonymously put your information in there. That generates an automatic email to our front office, and one of our counselors will get a hold of you that way. Our clients also are able to manage their therapy on their own as well. So we have a wonderful website and a case management system that allows the client to have their own client portal. So you can manage your own appointments, cancel your own appointments, speak to your therapist. You can do all that online or on your phone or on your iPad or on the computer. So we're tucked away on Chancery Lane, which provides a high degree of confidentiality. So most people who are showing up at our office, you certainly can't arrive at our office and be there by mistake. We don't get walk-ins like that. That's how tucked away our office is. So if you're looking for a place that's confidential, and as well as a place where you can have a conversation with another male therapist about some issues that you're dealing with, we certainly recommend MASC.
All right, got some questions from the audience for you, Dr. Peets. Mark Arthur C. Phillips is asking, good morning, Dr. Peets. Is your services recognized by all of the insurance companies on island?
Yeah, so we're certainly in network with BF&M as well as Colonial. I also think we're also in network with GHI. I don't handle the front office stuff that much. The only insurance company that I'm aware of that right now we are out of network with is Argus, but we're working with our front office to get in network with August, hopefully the first quarter of this year.
All right. Karen Simmons asking, does the therapy start with younger men, late teens, and early adulthood?
So we work with all males. So that will be starting at primary school age all the way up until, we have no upper limit. And so we work with primary, middle, high, post-grad adults in our practice.
All righty. Another one, Michael Daniels asking, how important is it for an individual to choose who they are separate and aside from their upbringing?
Well, that's a really, really good question. So I don't have a full answer for that because we certainly would need a little bit of context for that. But part of growing up is actually figuring out who you are. Part of that is, of course, is figuring out where you come from. But more importantly, we certainly want to help people not only make peace with who they are and where they come from, but we certainly want them to chart a path going forward because we're all about growth, and we certainly want people to realize all of their personal goals. And hopefully some of those personal goals is also improving your mental wellness as well as your relationships with people that you love.
All right. Dr. Ernest Peets, thank you to yourself, Tyrone, and Fitzgerald for the work that you're doing for creating something that is of need in our community. And please know that our door is wide open. Should you have anything to share, if you guys are doing anything that this community needs to know, please just reach out. Thanks so much for making the time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And Jamal, I'm running a 10-minute mile myself. So
there we go. There we go. Thank you, my friend. See, we're back on even terms now. Thanks so much, Dr. Peets. We'll talk soon.
Thank you so much.
All right.
All right.
Dr. Ernest Peets, folks, if you appreciated that conversation, you know what to do. Give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Please share these conversations. Look, we all know someone who needs someone to talk to. It may be us, ourselves. The services they're providing are top-notch. As they said, it was created because they just didn't see, like, where's the men's resource center, right?
Yeah.
And that's business, that's entrepreneurship, but it's also community. So thank you so much to the gentlemen at MASC and the ladies in the background who do the work. You can contact them, as Carmelia Lowe is stating here, at contact@mascbda.com. We're going to take our final break. Don't go anywhere. We're going to come back, wrap it up, and also do the daily play before we do that. This is a good one, folks.
A lot happens around your home. That is why at One Communications, we have introduced affordable security and video monitoring, because everyone should be able to afford to protect their family. Anytime, from anywhere, One Home Security keeps you connected and puts security in your hands with an easy-to-use smartphone app to control everything. Home security is important to keep you and your family safe. Motion-activated cameras around your home and security monitoring within create a complete security system providing protection both inside and outside your home. Professional monitoring means that there's someone on call with 24/7 protection to notify the authorities and help keep you and your loved ones safe. We are dedicated to whole home protection with indoor and outdoor cameras, smart door locks, motion sensors, and more, so you'll always be connected to what matters most. With professional installation, no upfront hardware fees, and low monthly rates, because keeping your family safe should be affordable for everyone. Total home video monitoring and security, there's no better way to protect your home than with One Home Security.
All right. Thanks again to Dr. Ernest Peets and everyone at MASC for trusting our platform to engage in such a conversation, folks. And we look forward to having them back on. So many, that's just surface level, really just find out what they do. We can go more in depth in certain situations. So again, thanks to them. Thanks again to One Communications, Medical House Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we're able to have these kind of conversations with all of you. It's time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. Larry, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, it's a Name That Place. Today, here you go. What is the capital of Canada?
Everyone wants to say Toronto.
But what
Toronto. Toronto or Montreal? Toronto.
Come on, folks. No one in the audience went to school in Canada?
Montreal.
The capital of Canada.
Vancouver. Ottawa.
Said it with a question mark. Yes, it is Ottawa. It is Ottawa. It is Ottawa. Yes, it is Ottawa. Yeah, that was a.
I knew it wasn't Toronto. It was the easy one. I know. Yeah.
A lot of people get. Well, look, true story. I go certain places outside the U.S. and some people think New York City is the capital of the United States. So, folks, it's not that bad saying Toronto or Montreal, but yeah, it is Ottawa. Ottawa is the capital. I think I have a first cousin lives up in Ottawa. I think that's where he is. But Ottawa Senators is how I got to know that.
I knew it from the hockey team. Yeah.
Right. I got to know most cities and countries in the world just through sport, like the World Cup and stuff, and sports in the U.S. That's how I learned geography, through sports teams and where players were from and so on. But yeah, Ottawa is the capital of Canada. Folks, let's discuss. Final thoughts on today's discussion, what we can learn from Usain Bolt, and then the conversation with Dr. Ernest Peets.
Dr. Peets, I think that's a very important conversation. You know what I mean? I think as a black man, sometimes we call each other and we throw off things to each other. But, I think sometimes we have to recognize that you may need to talk to a professional. So I would even encourage people that know of someone to kind of, set it up, encourage and give them that boost to speak to someone, because that type of thing is important. With Bolt, I can only go off my personal experience when my account was compromised. Know what's going on. The trust factor, it's almost like you have to hope. But just be informed, and hopefully all goes well with you in there. Because if someone is a criminal, it can be anywhere. But there are safe keeps and stuff like that. But just be informed on what's going on with your accounts.
Yeah, I would say, as far as the discussion regarding what can we learn from Usain Bolt, I think it's important for us to, as you stated earlier, be more informed. And my lesson is, look at my accounts, look at my pensions. How many of us got a pension from our jobs? And when is the last time we looked at it, right? Look at our pensions, look at our savings accounts, our checking accounts. And if you have our checking accounts, and if you have credit cards, look at the charges on your credit card.
And you said pensions, I'm sorry. That happens a lot in Bermuda. Employers not paying the pension, so pay attention to that, folks.
Yeah. Oh, we've seen some cases recently. Employers not paying their share of tax. Like, we just have to be more accountable, responsible, because it's easy to blame others after the fact. And yes, they're wrong when they're doing these things to us. They're wrong, but there are things we can do to kind of stay on top of things and find it before it gets so far. As far as Dr. Peets, again, I appreciate the work that they're doing. I agree. This is a needed space for so many reasons. My hope is that people utilize their services. And look, it's no shame in going to therapy and speaking to people. My mother put me in therapy as a very young child, and I can tell you it was one of the best things that she did. And I've said it publicly before. Her doctor was former Premier Dr. Ewart Brown. He recommended it to my mom at a young age, and it, I think it worked at least. I don't know. You may or may differ.
Let's ask Sherry that.
Yeah, you got whatever. Anyway, you got some daily inspiration for the folks, Bert?
I do. This is from John Green. There is hope, even when your brain tells you there isn't.
I like that. Even if my brain's telling me I'm not doing 4 minutes, you're telling me it's
it feels like that.
Okay, yeah. All right, whatever. Thanks again to our partners, Medical House, One Communications, Linda's, and People's Pharmacy, for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. He's Larry Marshall Jr. I'm Jamal Hartman. My friends, please do make it a safe and a great day. We are out. Peace.